Hello, and welcome to another episode of Enter the Minds of Nadine and Vera podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Today we have a very special guest. We have our Aunt Deborah with us today. How you doing today, Aunt Deborah?
Well,
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
well, um, I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. Um, Resided there most of my life. A couple of times I moved away, went to Georgia, and a little short time in Honolulu. I am now retired and now living in Tallahassee, and pretty much just enjoying day to day life.
Yes, we definitely have enjoyed you being here in Tallahassee with us. It's been great getting to know you even better.
Yes, I love it. Well,
Well,
we go ahead.
today we're going to be talking about gardening with our Aunt Deborah.
So I like to read a quote by Jeff Cox. It says, "The garden is a love song, a duet between a human being and Mother Nature."
So both my Aunt Deborah and Mom, they do gardening together. But I wanted to ask my Aunt Deborah first. Like? How did you get into gardening?
Well, actually, I've always loved the idea of gardening. Um, I look at a lot of videos of people gardening, so it's just always been fascinating to me um, how a seed can grow and develop into something that is beneficial for you, for the planet. So it's always been real fascinating to me, uh, the gardening aspect of growing.
Hmm. So what do you like most about gardening?
It's just being able to just be out, on the land or whatever space that you have and just be able to just be at peace and be really in oneness with nature, and just it's just very peaceful, and I think it's very rewarding because the work that you put in, you are able to reap harvest from that. So it's all good.
Mom, what do you like most about gardening?
Well, I love it because Auntie kind of made me love it. It's what I love about it is, like she said, you plant a seed and then you watch it grow. And for me, it gives me a strong feeling of watching the hands of God at work. But most importantly, as a child, I grew. I helped my grandmother do garden, but I really didn't pay attention. I just did what I was told, pulled the weeds, you name it. Matter of fact, hated it because every day after school, I had to work in the garden. But now it's different, and I'm just loving it.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about what you guys have in the garden that we have outside?
Until you go, because you
Okay.
remember.
In the front, on one side, we have a little area where we are growing different types of herbs. And another section, we have tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. And on the opposite side, we have different types of greens such as mustard, collards, turnips, Swiss chard, kale, mustard, and we also have radish, some carrots, onions, honeydews, cantaloupe. So that's the front part of the garden.
And in the back, we have a greenhouse, but the plants that I'm going to tell you we're growing grow best on the outside. So in some grow bags, we have cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. Uh, Help me out.
Watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon and counting. We just have And it's so beautiful. They just grow like you wouldn't believe. Now, when Auntie mentioned in the front, we have 2 raised beds that is attached to the house, bricked in, and it's so beautiful. And when she first moved here, she said, "Hey, let's do some gardening." I'm like, "Okay." So we started dabbling in it. Was it last summer? Yeah,
Do,
and
do you
yeah.
guys have any flowers that you guys plant or just the vegetables?
We did plant. We planted some zinnias, sunflower, marigold. Um, we have tulips out front, and I think it's a couple more. I can't think
What's
of
the
them.
one you say take over the area
Oh,
that is a
lavender,
lavender?
lavender.
Lavender,
Yes.
yeah.
And I want to ask you, is it more rewarding to eat what you grow?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It's nothing like gardening. Nothing like it. It's first of all, you control, what goes on your food. So you don't have to deal with pesticides and all of those different types of chemicals that we get, when we buy food at the stores. And so you have that control over to, you know, use what you think is best, as organic as possible. So,
And see, like we've had 2 harvests. Well, last year, let's go back to last year. Last year, like I say, we were dabbling, new gardeners. So we had tomatoes and bell peppers, and we had like 3 or 4 harvests of big
yeah.
green bell pepper, and we had some tomatoes, and actually eat them, use them just like you would if you bought them in the store. This year so far, we've had 2 harvests of collard greens, and we ate the first set, and I cannot describe. Not only can my aunt cook, and it wasn't just the seasoning, but it was something about the crisp taste of the greens that was different from when you buy them in the market. So yeah, growing vegetables yourself is a healthy way, to avoid all the pesticides and things of that nature.
Do you have any tips for beginners who are just starting out in gardening?
I would just say it's trial and error. Just have fun with it. Just enjoy it.
What's the hardest part about gardening?
Um, the hardest part is when you have everything is trial and error, but let's just say that you've put your everything in it, and you really don't get what you expect to get. It
Mm.
could be, it could have something to do with the climate that you're in, or it could be maybe some type of bugs or insects or something that attacked your your food. But
Well, let me share this, Auntie. You just have to be careful because I went and purchased the spray that you spray on. It says for tomatoes and vegetables to keep the bugs away. So we're pretty good at keeping those away. But this particular day, I grabbed a bottle of weed killer, and it happens to be the same makeup. The bottles look the same. So I was Miss Busybody that day. I thought I grabbed the vegetable spray, and I went and outside, and I mean we had big um, broccoli that was about to produce, and cabbage, and you name it. And I took that bottle and I sprayed them good because I didn't want them bugs getting on my plant. And then I went on to do other things. So it was at least an hour when I went back into the garage thinking that I'm gonna go get the weed killer now. And both bottles said vegetables. And I'm like, oh my God. So I caught myself rushing out there and taking the water hose and rinsing them really, really good. I mean, I did, but it didn't matter. They died. And the hardest thing, if I answer your question, was telling Auntie that I killed our plants. That was hard. It took me about 3 or 4 days to mention it.
How did you take that?
it was disappointing. I mean, I understood, because things do happen, but yeah, we was just so close, to the broccoli heads forming, and the cabbage heads beginning to get to that point where they're about to form. I was waiting on that specific moment,
Mm.
and she took it away from me.
Well, the lesson learned is always double read. As a matter of fact, I decided I was going to stay away from weed killer because just talking to other people who are gardeners, they said that some of that weed killer, no matter if you're not even near your plant, can get to them one way or the other and kill them. You have to just be real careful with weed killer. So Julie's not going to do any more weed killing.
So how do you protect the plants from pest and disease? What did you use?
We have this spray that's called. For it says for tomatoes and vegetables, and it is so good for keeping the bugs and stuff off. But you can actually spray your plant today, and it's safe to eat them tomorrow. So it's not giving them no type of strong product that is gonna get in your system.
Oh, I should have asked this first. Like, how do you start prepping the garden even before you started planting? Like, do you have to use a specific type of soil or?
Well, you have to decide, excuse me, what type of
So
how do you want to? You can do in the ground, or you can do grow food in containers. So you might want to decide that first, and then from there, then that'll determine what type of soil that you need to purchase.
Okay.
Depending upon which way you're going.
And what are some of the plants that you had the most success with? Is it your greens or tomatoes?
The greens, yes, absolutely, and the bell peppers.
Oh, the bell peppers.
Yeah,
Okay.
so far it's the greens and the bell peppers.
Yeah, Jessica said that she took a bell pepper too, right?
yeah, and she was saying how the taste of it was just
Mm-hmm.
so much,
Mm-hmm.
better. And so we're a lot bigger. We grew in the amount that we're, gardening. And as part of the prep, Auntie buy additional products that she'll mix in the soil before we actually do the planting. And that's whether we put them in the ground or the grow bag. Tell them about that, Auntie.
Those what she's talking about is different types of amendments. Some people, excuse me, some people use different types of fertilizers. Some people use rabbit, some people use chicken, cow manure. So it depends. You don't really, well, there are other options. You really don't even have to use those, depending upon what plants you're growing.
Okay.
They do have, there are certain types of herbs that can be used that you can make your own natural fertilizer with, liquid fertilizer with. So you can do that. You have that as an option too. And also, as far as like pest control, you can use certain types of flowers or certain types of plants that repel certain types of pests and insects and whatnot. So we're learning that you can take, say, for instance, a marigold flower and put it in the midst of those particular vegetable plants that might draw certain types of pests, and that works as like a deterrent for them. They don't like certain types of smells. So it's other ways that you can get around, you know, the less you want to use anything that's, chemicals in it. So
And we don't use chemicals. And then also, Auntie, tell them about the product that you use when you tell me, okay, I came over and I'm going to feed the plants. I'm going to give them some
okay,
food. What is that?
okay. That is Epsom salt.
Mm.
Epsom salt. Yeah, that it seems to help the process of the growth, and it makes the plants, the leaves and whatnot, look, healthier. So they provide a certain type of nutrient
I didn't know
to the
that.
plant. Yeah, like magnesium and sulfur. So that contributes to the plant.
And what's that other stuff you use?
Oh, bone meal and blood meal.
Okay. Why?
I mean, I don't know other than what I've read on it. That's supposed to be, they contribute to also the growth and
Mm-hmm.
how much chlorophyll the plant may contain. So I guess it kind of works as it's sort of a type of what do you call it?
Food or
It's
nourishment?
sort of a kind of
Nourishment,
food, and
maybe?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, it says some of the easiest vegetables to grow for beginners are what you guys didn't said: lettuce and kale and radishes, carrots, cucumbers, strawberries are some of the easiest vegetables to grow to apparently.
Yeah, last year we had trouble because we was trying to grow bottleneck squash or whatever, and it just turns out as my auntie, she's the researcher, did more research, discovered that it was just the wrong time of the year. So you have to also make sure you look and say, okay, is this the good time of year? Because I planted some tulips in March, and then everyone started telling me they're not going to survive because that's the wrong time of the year. But I've had some people say they would. So they're planted, they grew. Now whether I get a bud or not, we'll see.
You have to
If
kind
they
of like
flower, we just
experiment. You
try.
just try it.
If that don't work, then I'll plant some more in the
Right,
fall.
right, right.
So is gardening just like a feel good hobby? Or does it just make you feel good to do it?
May I answer first?
Yes, please.
My feel good comes from it's my Aunt Deborah's and I quality time together. We're laughing, we're singing, we're dancing. When my aunt come over and see how much a plant or plants grew, she just starts singing and dancing and praising God. But so my happiness is the time we spend together.
I've actually heard that plants grow better when they have music around them.
Yes,
It's,
yes, and we have music now, right?
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Okay, well, that's interesting to know a little bit about gardening. That's not my interest, but I'm glad that you guys share that. And I love watching it grow, and even the kids love looking at the garden. It is beautiful, and we do appreciate you guys putting in the effort. And I see from what you guys do is hard work. It's a continuous effort. Like every day, you have to water it, you have to tend to it, you have to mend it, and
Nurture it.
but nurture it. But you do get a beautiful result, which is amazing.
Yep,
So
yep.
thank you guys for doing that, and I'm glad it also gives you guys something to do. I was going to say mom, but you guys both something to do. So
Yeah,
it's a good way to um, use some of your time during the day to
yeah.
keep
And who's
busy.
gonna have? What is your joy in gardening?
Well, I just like, for me, it's very, very tranquil. It's very, very peaceful. That's what I love. I love being in that, just being in that space. It's just, I can't explain it. It's just like there's such a peace, and being able to be able to grow your food. Number one, you know, put some food on the table, and it helps you become more self-sufficient than just relying on, you know, going to the stores. You're able to create, a space where you can grow your own and just really just have that option.
Hmm. I
Yes.
love that. So while my aunt is here, I wanted to talk a little bit about survivalism. And I'm going to read the definition first. It's a social movement where individuals, often called preppers, proactively prepare for emergencies like natural disasters or societal disruptions, focus on self sufficiency and survival skills. So, Aunt Deborah, would you call yourself a survivalist
Uh, yeah, I guess
or
so. Prepper, whatever you
a
want to call it.
prepper?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes.
And the reason why I asked her that because I always joke that if something goes down in the world and everything shuts down, I know who house I'm going to, and we probably can live off of what she has.
And we said that when she was still living in Miami in the condo.
I loved how you like sat there and explained to me everything that you collected, and I know it took like time to collect certain things. And you, my Aunt Deborah, she does her garden, but she also makes medicine and hair care stuff and anything you can think of. She has a elixir or some type of ointment or some kind of
Yeah.
something to help you get better and get your life together. So. My first question is, what would your first steps be if you got lost in the wilderness? First of
Oh,
all, I don't think you would be in the wilderness by
no,
yourself, but
I would truly be lost. That's not my thing.
right.
I would truly be lost.
Okay, but how would you prepare for a natural disaster like a hurricane?
Well,
And I think most Southerners are preppers when it comes to
yeah, I mean,
hurricanes.
you get the essential things, that you're going to need, such as water, batteries, flashlights, uh, your little snackable foods. I mean, it's just little things, just little everyday things.
And what age did you start prepping or start doing this, Aunt Deborah?
Ooh, how about we do some years?
Okay,
Some decades.
I think I started. What is this? 2025.
25, yeah.
I think I started around 2016, somewhere
Oh, so
around
not
there.
that long,
No,
about 9 years.
yeah,
Okay.
around 2016.
Can you tell us a little bit about all the stuff that you have in your storage closet?
Well, I first started out with just doing some dry canning. I got on YouTube and just research on just being able to do some dry canning because at that time I didn't have anything else as far as like, pressure canners and stuff like that. So, and I didn't, and the funds was very limited. So I just worked with basically just basic stuff. And gradually I would, order whatever I could online, such as far as like dry canning oxygen absorbers that help, the food retain,
Oh,
its quality as long as it could, for a
mhm.
certain period of time. So I just started ordering just little different things, and so after a period of time, then I accumulated. Um, a bit more, than what I initially started out with. So that's pretty much it.
So what's the one thing that everybody should have if they're going to like start prepping or start collecting?
First, you must have water. That's a must. Absolute. You can survive without food, but you need some water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Mom?
The list is long. Of course, water is at the top, but if you start early enough and just do a little bit at a time, you're going to collect water, stacks of it. You don't wait till a disaster is approaching to go buy water because the stores will give out of water. Also, you want to make sure you have the basic things like, guess what? Matches. What if you do have to go out in the wilderness? You need to learn how to do certain survival skill like CPR, start a
mhm,
fire,
mhm,
and even just having tarp or whatever. If you had to you seen that on TV, temporary cover,
mhm,
because I honestly believe that one day we could be led to have to grab our stuff and get
mhm,
out of the city. I honestly believe that. But the process is long. You just cannot say, okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow. You have to start early with the batteries, and then make sure how we make sure our cars are full of gasoline, when a storm is approaching, but have some gas cans, as long as you can store them safely and have a plan to where if you were going to bug out, I think that's what they call
mhm.
it, where you would want to go, your thought process. And you
Right.
used to say, okay, if I live in the South, I'm going to go north. But when we're talking about storms, and it's all over, it's like, wow, you may have to survive in place.
Mm.
Right.
You know, all that you have to just be prepared for. And Aunt Deborah and I say, we are so happy that I have a gas stove because we'll be able to cook and even get warm. I've used gas stove to stay warm. That is awesome to have.
Well, from a nurse standpoint, I would say a first aid kit as well, and of course, gather all the medications you can. And Deborah also has like backpacks full of just an emergency stuff if you need to just grab and go already, right?
I do.
Yes. So that's why I say if something happens, I'm going with Aunt Deborah and my brother Terry because Terry, he's going to be our provider, the person that protects us, and he's going to know where he's going to want to go. He's going to be like, okay, we're going this direction.
And William going to be right, his little sidekick.
And Deborah might have everything we need if Terry doesn't have it. So between the two of them, and also a gun, something to protect yourself with. This
I think we up to par on that.
is important.
And it's sad because I used to say, why would someone collect ammunition and weapons or whatever? And I had a coworker of mine who's a serious survivor tell me that, unfortunately, it's just like stuff on TV. If you're prepared to take care of your family, and there'll be people who weren't prepared that will come and try to take yours. So it's to protect. So guess what? Another survival skill is not only, being able to build temporary shelter or whatever, but you're going to have a mindset where you have to have different schedule where people are on duty being censors and watching and looking to put. It's sad, but it's true.
It's very true.
And then
Very
also,
true.
I guess, depending on how many people in your group, like everybody could be assigned to something different or whatever their skill sets are, whatever they're good at. We were talking that everybody needs like a job to do.
Everybody will have to have and you should have that somewhat discussion before to keep from being in a confused state.
And believe it or not, I just know a lot about all of this just from watching TV. Walking Dead. Even though I know it's not zombie times or whatever, but you never know what tomorrow's gonna lead us to. So, you guys, gardening is also a job, a talent that you might need. If something happens in this world. Having survival skills and prepping is also.
Yeah, and I'll say 41 years in the military. I think I'm a little bit prepped.
Yes.
I'm a little bit prepped.
Yes.
And
Mine would be the safety officer.
Definitely.
Right before we start, this is the safety plan, guys. Okay. Okay. That's all I was going to say about that. So.
I agree. Totally.
Okay. All right. Enough about that. Moving right along, Aunt Deborah. Before we get out of here, I was going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Okay. Just answer whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Who is now or who was?
Who was? It's fine.
Who was?
Mm-hmm.
Peebo Bryson.
Ooh. Okay. Nice.
We were talking about that the other day.
What are 3 words that describe you best?
Let's see. I'm very straightforward. I believe that I'm a very loyal person, and I believe that I'm a very trusting person.
Yes, true.
I love that. What's one thing that you've always wanted to try but you've been too scared to do?
Hmm. Give me a minute, please.
I know for me, zip lining. I've always wanted to try zip lining, but won't do it. Too scared of heights, and I'm not going to move fast like that. So that's something that I wish that I wasn't scared to do.
Mine would be ride a horse without someone walking it for me. I love horses, but I'm petrified of the strength and the size. And I wish that I could get past that.
Hmm. I really can't think of anything in particular that I
Okay.
want to do that I'm afraid of doing. Um,
Okay. We can move on.
yeah.
What was your first job?
My first job was the counter girl at a movie theater.
What's the counter girl? Like you was actually taking
The
orders?
concession stand.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Were you able to watch the movies for free too?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You let your little friends in.
Yeah, yeah, I did actually. We could invite guests.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad first job, actually.
Making $1 an hour.
In
Oh,
Miami,
Yeah,
a
it was
dollar an
at
hour.
North
That
South
was minimum
Theater,
wage.
that was a
79th
lot of
Street.
money for her then.
I was still in high school. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually
Okay.
16. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just on the weekends. Just on the weekends. So.
What's the most important lesson you learned in life?
Mm. Protect your peace at all
Mm,
costs. Protect your peace.
good one.
Well, mine's, I knew you was going to ask me. The most valuable lesson I learned is that it takes 365 days of the year for me to mind my own business.
Mm.
And once I finish doing that, I'm too daggone tired to be worried about yours. And it was one of my mom's best friends that used to do nails and hair. What's her name, Auntie? Um, that told me that when she was doing my nails one time. She used to make the handkerchiefs and
Jeanette.
Miss Jeanette. She
Yeah.
told me that, and it just stuck with me. It's true. Mind your own business. You know, I don't have time for yours.
That's protecting your peace, sweetie.
That's but in which in turn protect my peace.
Yeah.
What's your dream vacation?
My dream vacation. I would love to visit several countries in Africa.
Mm.
I would love to go to Australia. I would love to go to Brazil, um, Mexico, and Germany. Yeah, I've always wanted to visit Germany.
Have you ever been out of the country?
No, actually, I haven't.
Okay. What's your favorite childhood memory?
Ooh. Hmm. Childhood memory. Honestly, I remember, I think I was about 5 years old. I remember when my mom used to go to work, she used to take me to this elderly lady's home. And she was just such a loving, kind, warm lady. And I loved going in her home because it always felt real nice and cozy. And she was always baking something sweet. And so that was something that I always remembered. And that was why, as I got a little older, I kind of had taken an interest in baking because it was just like, that was just love. She was just, that was her way of expressing love. And so that was one of my memories, childhood memories, that I hold dear to me to this day. Yeah.
And I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast. My Aunt Deborah is my grandma Vera's younger sister. So how was it growing up with my grandma?
Oh, girl. Well, actually, since she was 12 years older than myself, I really don't even really remember her being in the home.
Mm.
My memories of her are like, as she was older, I was still in the home, but she was not really in the home. We still saw each other, either she would visit us or I would go and spend the weekend with her. But as far as her just like every day being in the home, no. I was
She was kind of like your
younger.
second
Yeah,
mom growing
she
up?
was gone. No,
No?
no, I wouldn't say second mom. No, just big sister.
Okay.
Big sister. Yeah.
Who is your favorite artist?
Now, my favorite artist. Hmm. Let's see. If we're talking female, I would say I love Rochelle Farrell. She is just like the best to me. Um, Male. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know, but not any single male. Like they're
Or
different
groups?
groups.
Mm-hmm.
Groups. Yes. Love the. I love the old school.
Okay.
The OJs.
OJ is nice.
Yes, the OJs. Frankie Beverly and Mays, of course. Um, it was just so many of them. Um,
Okay, two more questions. So, do you have a favorite concert you ever been to?
I have so many of those. Oh gosh, so many. One of my favorite concerts was actually Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Okay.
hmm That was back in, I think, late 70s.
Okay.
hmm But yeah, I have so many good concerts that I remember and love.
My last questions. I know you had mentioned earlier that you grew up in Miami, you live here now, you also lived in Hawaii, in Atlanta. What was your favorite place that you've lived?
Well, I would say probably Atlanta.
Okay, Atlanta.
And yeah, I really liked it like in the late 70s, very early 80s. That was my best time there. Yeah,
It had a different vibe or feeling back then?
totally, totally different. Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
A lot of people love Atlanta. Well, that's all my questions that I have for you today, Aunt Deborah. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Enter the Minds of Nadine and Vera. I hope you enjoyed our podcast about gardening and survivalism.
Yes, go grow something.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.